So, trivia question, rock trivia question, is name one of the first bands that tuned down a half step, a full step, or more. And this is done early on in rock to get even a lower sound. Your lowest guitar note goes to an E, but some bands used to tune down a half a step. I think there's quite a few bands that might have started this, but I'm going to tell you the only one I know growing up in that era that I remember tuning down, and so I give them all the credit. Pause. Okay, so in high school, my favorite band was Thin Lizzy, and I think what originally attracted me to them, and they are from Ireland, so only one of two main iconic bands from Ireland, U2 of course being the other one, is their harmonized guitar lead. So I played guitar at the time and I didn't understand what I was hearing, other than maybe Dickie Betts and the Allman Brothers that did harmonized guitars, which was a clean sound. I had never heard harmonized guitars and didn't even know what it was until I finally figured it out. As figuring out some of the songs, like Jailbreak, I couldn't play it because it was in E flat. So I'm going to give them credit, just in my mind, of being the first band I remember to turn down a half a step to get that real low, gutsy sound. Okay, so Big Band Theory, rock music trivia. This isn't so much a trivia question, it is, but it isn't. So because I play guitar, and I've been playing guitar for well over 45 years, I run into a lot of guitarists, professional guitarists, starting out guitarists, guys in bands all the time, and I usually ask them a few questions. And over this long period of time and studying many of our virtuoso iconic guitarists, there is what percent is the question of guitarists, famous rock guitarists, would you think reads sheet music? So you gotta give me your idea of the percent of guitarists that read music. Pause. Okay, so I'm going to give you my guess after asking well over 200 or 300 guitarists, and I'm going to say it's 1%. And I highly doubt it's even 2%. So 1 out of 100 reads real sheet music. So at this point, I need to say that if you're starting out on guitar, don't learn to read music. Guitar is first about chords. It's a polyphonic instrument. And secondly, if you can play lead, you can just hear it. So many teachers to this day are teaching guitar lessons, having you read sheet music, and 6 months later, you're being able to read and play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. It's a waste of time. Learn chords, learn leads, forget sheet music. There's a thing called tablature, which you can read instantly anyway. Okay, next question, and this is a question, but it's really me getting on a soapbox and talking about something. So the question is, what is the best instrument in the world? Okay, pause. Well, of course, it's guitar. And I'm going to tell you why. Well, first there's acoustic and electric, okay? Then it's portable, okay? It's polyphonic. Now this means you can play more than one note at a time, generally chords. Well, if you think of a whole symphony orchestra, the whole orchestra, from saxophone to violins to cellos, oboes, trumpets, bass, they're playing one note at a time. So it really only turns out there might be 6 or 7 mainstream instruments that even can play more than one note at a time. Piano, harp, guitar, ukulele, mandolin, banjo, and I can't even think of any others. So first of all, those are your top 7. Now we'll go farther. If the piano hits a middle C, he can hit it, or she, loud or soft. The piano was originally called the pianoforte. That means loud and soft. It's a percussion instrument. Your fingers are not on the strings. You get to hit it loud or soft or somewhere in between. The guitar, let's talk about a C note. There's 3 different places to play at positioning on a guitar. The strings are different thickness, it sounds different. And then when you play a C note, you can slide up, you can bend up, you can hammer up, you can hammer off, you can slide down, you can put vibrato on it, you can mute it, you can play a harmonic overtones, you can get a pinch with a pick and get a harmonic, you hit it with a steel pick versus a stone pick versus a plastic pick, you can finger pick it, the string can be nylon, it can be steel, it can be wound, and it goes on and on. We haven't even started about pickups and acoustic versus electric effects. That's why when Carlos Santana plays 3 notes, you know who he is. Eddie Van Halen plays 3 notes, you know who he is. Your style and your sound come out through guitar. A piano, Steinway piano, you hit a few notes. Maybe you can tell it's Lyle Mays. Maybe you can tell it's Elton John. But for the most part, it's the same stuff. Guitar is the best instrument in the world. And you can disagree, but I think it's pretty amazing. Okay, next. Big band theory trivia questions. This should be simple, but I ask a lot of piano players that's played their whole life. So this trivia question is, on a standard full-size piano, it can be grand, spinet, upright, concert grand, baby grand, how many keys are on a piano? Pause. The answer is 88, and some places at NAMM, they call it the 88 room because that's the piano room. So I am shocked at how many piano players don't even know that question. That's the first thing you should learn. Also, like guitar, you know, it has about 48 notes you can hit. So it has 24 frets, but there is a lot of repeating notes. So by the time let's go to the high E string, you've got 24 notes, then another 4, another 5, another 5, another 5 for the tuning, and it's about 48. But again, that's a different trivia question. Okay, so the next trivia questions were on the line of instruments is, what is a saxophone? And what I mean by it, what category is it in? So when we go to a lot of bands like Huey Lewis and the News, or War, or Earth, Wind and Fire, we're gonna see a horn section. Maybe Chicago, they're most famous for their horn section. So there's a saxophone player. We say, hey, that's part of the horn section. So the question is saxophone a horn? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, what is it? Pause. Okay, so a saxophone is actually a woodwind instrument. It's got a reed. It's not truly a horn. It's a reed instrument. It is categorized as part of a woodwinds. And if you even know the difference between an orchestra or a band, an orchestra has horns and woodwinds. Usually a band, like a big band or something, they will definitely have horns, but not a lot of times woodwinds. But definitely a saxophone is a woodwind. We just seem to call it a horn. Okay, next question is a question about, this is bigbandtheory.net, is what is piano? Is piano a stringed instrument? Or is it truly not a string instrument? And if not, what is it? Pause. It turns out a piano has strings, but your fingers never touch the strings. If the lid is closed, you never see the strings. So it's hammers that are deployed on the string. As you push down a note or a key, there's a damper hammer that comes off, a hammer that hits it, and then when you release it, the damper hammer goes again unless you're holding the sustain pedal. This is truly a percussion instrument that fits under xylophone and vibes. You're hammering strings, percussion. It's not a string instrument. Your fingers don't touch the strings. You have no control with tremolo, sliding, anything. So piano is a percussion instrument. Okay, next trivia question on bigbandtheory.net is, have you ever seen or heard of somebody using a piano as a string instrument? Not percussion, hitting the keys, but actually opening it up and touching the strings in any way? If so, who? Pause. Okay, early on, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, there was this song named Just Take a Pebble. It might be called Take a Pebble. Look that up on YouTube. There's a live version. Keith Emerson is brilliant. So what he does, he opens up a grand piano. He holds down the chord he wants to play gently. So he does not deploy the hammers, but he does unleash the 3 dampers of each chord, or 4, depending on how many notes in that chord. Holds slowly down the keys. The dampers release. He takes a pick, strums along the strings inside the piano. Only the ones he's holding down ring out. He's actually playing chords as a string instrument on piano. Never seen it done before or since. It is unbelievable. So watch Keith Emerson Take a Pebble, play that, and then hang on, because when he jumps on the piano and plays it later like a percussion instrument, it will blow your mind.